Good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. So today, let's see, puff up my hair a little bit while I'm in the camera. Today is Soulful Sunday, and today I'm just gonna talk about love. Hey, what's up, Torres, Mr. Green? I hope your recovery is going well, sir. I hope you're healing, and you need to add some essential oils to your healing regimen, buddy, for your leg, for your knee. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Rolanda. Auntie Troy, hey Marvin. Thank you guys for joining in. Please make sure you hit the share button. Go ahead and hit the share button. Share this video blog on your page, please. And today's topic, I was just talking with a high school girlfriend of mine named Rhonda. We go way back. Hey, Dennis. And we were just talking about love, right? And how it's so important to learn how to love yourself. And she was saying more women need to learn how to just be content and happy with loving on themselves. Hey, Shadrach. And I said, the problem is many people don't really understand what love is. So they understand what the infatuation or lust or, like being romantic and all the chivalry stuff is not really have anything to do with love, right? So, being romantic and, being chivalrous is, to me, I'm going to define that as, kind gestures, and that a person goes out of their way to, be kind. That's an intentional effort, but I don't equate that to be love. And to just being romantic, and appealing to one's, emotions and senses and things like that. It's an expression of, a person's love. But to me, when you get down to the core or the meat of how do you define love, for me, love is patient. Love exercises self-control. Love is, obviously forgiving. And love requires discipline. To have discipline, and you need discipline in just about everything you do. And love is action. So, and a lot of times people will show the actions of love, but the motives for that is wrong. So basically, they are manipulating, the ability to sell you what you want, feed you what you want to see or hear in order to, for them to get what they want from you. It's not actually genuine. It's not actually real. It's actually, it's a pretentious and fake motivation. So, and the point of that is when you understand as a woman, a lady, a female, what you need physically, spiritually, emotionally, as far as it pertains to love and how to love yourself, then you become less tolerant of the foolishness and the game playing and the manipulation, because you will see it. You will see it from the very beginning. And instead of blowing off the red flags, you will actually analyze and accept that what you're seeing is the truth, instead of subsiding that because it's something that you want, or because you've been single for a while, you haven't had a companion in a while, you haven't had intimacy in a while. We've all made that mistake. We've all been guilty of it. But when you have finally detached the soul tie that you previously had from the previous relationship or the previous person, your ability to see very clearly becomes untainted. You really can just see straight through the BS. And you can sit there and say, at that point, you can make the decision to say, I'm going to bow out gracefully, and I'm not going to call this person anymore, or waste my time or give any more of my time to this person, because I know their motivation and their motives are completely foul. And it's just unfortunate that people do not operate under the premise of preface of wanting to make the world better by being more loving and more kind, and actually going out of their way action-wise to, show someone that they love them. So love is sacrifice, love is action, love is discipline, love is patient, love is forgiving, and love is unselfish. That's the other one. It's not selfish. If I decide to if I decide to cook, dinner and invite you over, if I decide to treat you to a movie, if I decide to treat you to lunch, if I decide to do anything for anyone, whether it's a, female, my girlfriend, hey, Katrina, or a guy friend, because that's what I want to do, because I want to be kind. I want to show my kindness. I want to show my genuineness. You know what I'm saying? That's totally up to me to do that. And there's no expectation in return other than appreciation. So, say thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the meal. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the outing. That's really the only expectation, I would have. I can't speak for what other people would have an expectation for, but nobody wants to feel like they are unappreciated, and so that's what it boils down to. But so a lot of times people mistake lust for love, because the lust is manipulative. Lust will use you up till you have nothing left. Lust will throw your emotions and feelings and disregard them after they get what they want, or they will continue to play on your emotions because, they like, if you've already decided to give your body to them, they like what they're getting. So they're not necessarily ready to give up what they're getting, but they're not willing to commit. They're not willing to, be faithful to you and not, date or sleep with you and multiple other people. That's lust. That's not love. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people try to justify their wrongdoing in the name of love, and that's not what love is. Even if you are not a spiritual person and you don't believe in God and you have no concept of who God is, love still requires action. So to all my parents out there, because I'm not a parent and I don't have kids, but because parents, make those kind of sacrifices for their kids, even when they don't have the means and they don't know how they're going to financially pull something together, but they do it because they love their kids. They want their kids to have the best education and the best opportunity and the best of whatever they can provide and give them to become a functioning contribution to society, so that they can make it in the real world. So when you really understand how to begin to love yourself, then you won't tolerate, and that goes for the guys too. A lot of times, because some guys, are so driven by getting, sex to sleep with somebody, they make some poor choices too, at the same time, just like the women. It goes on both sides. And we live in this instant gratification, microwavable, like I want it right now society. So, we tend to allow, I would just, for the most part, on both sides say, when you sleep with someone before you really get to know them, it's just hormonally driven. It's your hormones. Your hormones want it because, of course, sex with the right person feels absolutely amazing. Sex with the right person, allows your body to experience something it has not maybe experienced before, or experience it in a different way. So we can be real about that and say that, what God designed for marriage, we've all experienced that prior to getting married. Some have had kids out of that situation, and we've learned from those mistakes. So, it's hard to get rid of a soul tie with somebody. And when you have a soul tie to that manipulative, to that lustful person, to that lustful spirit, a lot of times when we as women have continued to meet that same guy over and over again, and that's because that soul tie and that spirit is still attached to you. So you are attracting that same, piece of crap of a guy, and you don't really realize that's what it is. So it's very important that you don't equate giving your body to a guy that you're just dating to equate love, because it really has nothing to do with love in itself. So when, God talks about, marriage and the bed being undefiled, and for your husband, you're not supposed to deny your husband. You're not supposed to, deny each other unless it's for fasting purposes. That is why, because in marriage, sex is an expression of love. You know what I'm saying? It's something, it has a completely different meaning in marriage. In dating, it's just something you choose to do. I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not judging anybody. Trust me. If you decide to give your body to your boyfriend and you both mutually agree and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But just understand the consequences that come with that if you do it too soon and you really don't know where he stands, where he's going, or define the relationship. Then basically, you're just taking a real strong risk and gamble. And if you gambled enough and risked enough and you still didn't get the relationship you wanted, then you have to learn and change what you're doing, because what you're doing is the wrong, you're going about it the wrong way, as they say. So And we all want our emotions, our feelings, our heart to be protected, to be valued, to be appreciated, and not somebody walking all over it or taking it like, give this analogy. So, the objective for the football team when you're on offense is to score a touchdown. So when we give our body to the wrong person, it's just like the offensive team that's on offense score a touchdown. Once they get to the end zone, what do they do with the ball? They throw it down. And they're done with it. So it's just like that. And how many times do you have to get thrown down and for, to be completely left alone for you realize that, hey, you giving your body to a person does not equate to love when you're dating. A person should have a plan and they should be showing you and taking you down the path of that plan for you prior to there being any sexual activity involved, because intimacy has nothing to do with sex. You can create a whole lot of intimacy. You can create, a strong bond of trust through intimacy. And that's what you should be establishing and working on. And the friendship, if you're, this is a person you really want to date, that you really are attracted to, that you really, personality, physical, everything, is somebody that genuinely interests you, and you see the potential that it can grow or evolve to a relationship. But you never date on potential. You date for where a person is in the present, not on what they can be. Because what they can be is not who they are. Who they are is where meeting a person where they are is where they are presently. So you really need to see what's in their spirit and how they carry themselves and what they're willing to, if they have boundaries and if they actually stick to their boundaries. Boundaries are very important in any relationship, whether it's a platonic friendship, whether it's, a friendship that you have a romantic interest in that person. Boundaries are so necessary. And we let the fantasy part of what we desire from a companion make us not stick to our boundaries on both sides. Whether you're visualizing and you've already slept with that person in your mind, you've already taken trips and gone out of town with that person, just all these things that you've always wanted to be able to do with a companion. That is what makes you stop sticking to your boundaries, the fantasy part. So when you let the fantasy part take over the logic and practical part, and you're not paying attention to who you're really dealing with, that's where we go wrong and making the wrong choices. Because it's being driven by our hormones and what we, all that tingly, bubbly, exciting stuff, right? I mean, we're grown, we're adults, so this is, designed to help us learn and grow and have better, healthier relationships and have the type of relationships that we want, and know that, be able to find if this is a good fit for me before I decide to do anything, sexual with this person. Because again, that just comes down to your choice. If you want to, make them wait till you're married, then wait. But, some people don't make it to that point. But you just really need to have a better way to vet and screen who you are laying down with and making sure it's there, it's a good fit and the right fit for you. Because at the end of the day, if you've had sex, you're not a virgin, then obviously, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be more of a challenge when you do meet somebody that you are physically attracted to, that you are mentally attracted to, that you enjoy their conversation, you enjoy their time, you enjoy being in their space, and they make you feel comfortable. They make, there's a chemistry and an energy that draws you to them. You know what I'm saying? So, I read this book, and I'm going to put it up so you guys can see it, right? So it's by Gary Chapman, right? So it talks about making love. What's the difference between making love and having sex? And it pointed out some really great analogies and examples on what the difference is. And a lot of times, again, we equate the whole fantasy thing of, the romantic little gestures and the kind gestures. We equate a lot of that, to love. But that's not really it, because, love requires hard work. It requires sacrifice. It requires you to, do things in a way that when things are going bad, when your things may be at your worst, it requires you to still be able to show love and to show sacrifice and in an unselfish kind of way when you're not able to get what you want or have your way. Because love is not predicated on, only when things are going your way or when you're getting what you want and you're happy. So your happiness is determined by you. And so even when you have nothing, even when your finances, are not where they want to be, even when your health is not where you want to be, you still can choose to be happy. You still can choose to be loving. You still can choose to show and express your love to your mate, to your husband, to your spouse, to your kids, and everything, because love doesn't cost. Love is not associated and tied to money. It's tied to how, what's in your heart and your ability to convey that, despite the circumstances and the situations of life. And that's what, when people say, I want somebody that's going to support me. I want somebody that's going to be loyal to me. I want somebody that I know is going to be there through thick and thin with me. That's what love is about. It's about the small things and the hard things. Money gives you options. Money gives you choices. It allows you to, do certain things when you have money. But like I tell people all the time, to show somebody you care about them doesn't have to cost you anything as far as money. It's up to you if you choose to spend money on that person. But, being consistent in what you do is how you show the action of that you care about a person. So my inner circle, my friends, Nurse Washington, Danita, Ruth, Joe, and a couple of other my closest friends, they know that I love them and I know that they love me. If something were to happen to me and, say I got killed in the line of duty or something, like, the whole relationship and friendship over all the years that I have had with them, they have no doubt that I went the distance. I love them with everything. I would give them my last of anything if I could help them, if they was in a bind. They know they could call me and I know I could call them. So, that doesn't have anything to do with money. So a lot of times, again, lust is selfish as hell. Lust is very manipulative. Lust will lie to you. Lust will take from you. Lust will use you up and take everything you're willing to give and offer and give you nothing in return and leave you so empty. So when you learn how to provide and do the things that you enjoy doing that make you happy on a day-to-day basis, you will not tolerate and accept someone else doing less than that for you. And it takes, trial and error, learning from your mistakes, because like I said, we've all made those mistakes. We've all been in some toxic relationships. We've all made some poor choices in a companion, in a mate, and sometimes as a byproduct of that, we've had kids with, those individuals. So it's not to beat you up or beat you down, because some of your best teaching moments are from your mistakes. And the other best teaching moments is when you can learn from someone else's mistake. It doesn't have to be your own. So I'll read like an excerpt from this book in just a minute. And then here's another book. If, we've all been burned, right? We've all been in a relationship that, we thought we made a good choice. Wasn't a good choice. Our heart got broke. Now we don't know, we question everything about ourselves because that person decided to use us, decided to mistreat us, decided to be reckless with our feelings, with our emotions, right? So we're fearful for the next relationship. We're fearful the next time we meet somebody and it's like, you know what, you have all this going on. So again, when you are able to detach that negative, lustful spirit that you decided to give your body with, you are able to see things with a very clear vision. It's not, clouded. It's not tainted. You see the BS for what it is in the beginning, and you are able to make the choice to say, hey, you know what? I can see where this is going because this person is showing me who they are. So I need to believe and accept that. If you choose to think you can change that person, if you choose to try to stick around and hoping that they will change, you have every right to do that. But you're going to be very, highly disappointed because again, we've all made that mistake, right? Thinking that we can change somebody. And it's just, it's just one of those things because we let the fantasy part of the relationship, our minds of what can be in a relationship or what we want and all those little happy, things that make you feel bubbly and excited, right? But that really isn't necessarily the basis and core of how you define love. So, hopefully that that this video blog, will help some individuals, male or female, to learn to love themselves more because, again, men have value and worth just like women have value and worth. And it is very unfortunate in our community on both sides that we have individuals who take for granted or try to use people and treat them as if they don't have worth, they don't have value. We're trying to use them for what they have. We're trying to, come up on what's in it for me. But love actually starts with what are you willing to give and what can you give somebody that they can't pay you for in return. Meaning when you do a kind gesture, when you bless somebody, when you go out of your way to show somebody that you do support them, that you do care for them, there's no cost associated to that. There is no expectation for anything in return other than that person showing their gratitude, their appreciation, saying thank you so much. I really appreciate what you did for me. That's really it. And that's, that's common sense of courtesy, being taught to be courteous. But it shouldn't be where, okay, I'm going to continue to take this person's kindness, and just keep, taking and not reciprocate. Even on a friendship, a platonic friendship level, you're supposed to reciprocate. That saying, treat people the way you want to be treated. If you like how somebody is making you feel, then why would you not want to reciprocate that? On a platonic level, friend, whatever. It's so there. And unfortunately, I've learned the hard way that there are just more takers in the world than givers. And, everybody wants to receive, but nobody's willing to give. And a part of finding love is being able to be vulnerable and let your guard down. And that's hard to do when you've been burned, when you've been hurt several times, over and over and over, failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship. But again, you have to learn how to take rejection and accept rejection and see it for the positive that it is instead of a negative. Because, we deal with rejection actually on a daily basis. We just really don't look at it and see it that way. But we get told no all the time. But it only more so hurts when you hear no, when you don't know how to see the beauty and blessing of somebody being honest with you, and that you are actually able to dodge a bullet, and that wasn't a good fit for you. But we get so blinded by what we want and what we see, because it's, she's cute, she's got the, this that I like, she's got the figure that I like, she's athletic build, she's this and that. We get blinded by the superficial things, which is on the outside. And we all are attracted to what we see on the outside first, because that's what initially draws us to that person, to have just a simple conversation. Say, hey, my name is Bethany. What's your name? What do you do? Hey, Skip, what's going on? Where are you from? The physical attraction is what it draws everybody. So, that's understandable. And for anybody to say that the physical attraction doesn't matter, that's not true. They don't have to be super fine like Shamar Moore or Halle Berry, Nia Long, Gabrielle Union, but they have to be somewhat attractive to you for you to even entertain the idea of being in their presence on more than one outing, one dating, whatever you want to call it. So, some people can just be average, okay looking, and they may not be your typical, what you would be drawn and attracted to. But if you actually sat down and had a conversation with them, they have a lot of personality and intelligence and confidence, which confidence, usually most people are attracted to confidence and intelligence. That's just, the truth of the matter, unless you like an airhead and you really don't, have any standards and you just kind of will accept anything. But most of us, if we are 35 and up, we should have some standards at this point and, some boundaries by now, right? So, but yeah, I'm going to read just an excerpt out of this book. And this is the introduction. So it says, let's make love, let's have sex. Is there a difference? Most definitely. In fact, the two are worlds apart. Sex is the joining of two bodies. Love is the joining of two souls. When sex grows out of love, it becomes a deeply emotional bonding experience. When having sex is viewed as nothing more than satisfying biological urges, that's all it does. It is never ultimately fulfilling. It is more animal than human. And throughout human history, love and sex have always been related. However, in contemporary culture, love and sex have been equated. The common perception today is that making love means having sex. Love is defined as a romantic feeling, and sex is its logical expression. Sex outside of marriage has become as common as sex within marriage. Sex has been separated from commitment and is viewed as a form of casual entertainment, much like being on a roller coaster or some other amusement park ride. When it's over, we look forward to the next ride. This view of sex has left thousands feeling emotionally empty and longing for something to fill that void of the soul. I believe that the Christian faith, which is built upon the Jewish faith, offers a wealth of insight on making love and not just having sex. For example, both the Jewish faith and the Christian faith view sex as a gift from God. Both teach that God has given us guidelines on how to relate to each other sexually. It's interesting that recent sociological research has come to the same conclusions and as those found in the ancient Jewish culture, Jewish and Christian scriptures. One such conclusion is that sex within marriage is much more meaningful and satisfying than sex outside of marriage. While this truth is not popular in secular society, it bears the support of both research and scripture. So, this is a very short book, it's only about 100 pages. Yeah, so about 100 pages, and so it's a very short read, and you can get it off Amazon at a Christian bookstore or whatnot. So it's called Making Love by Gary Chapman, The Chapman Guide to Making Sex an Act of Love. And so then it gives some things to remember at the back of the book, as far as, things you should remember. So like I highlighted a few and that stood out to me. So I'll read those. And if anybody has any comments or questions, feel free to put comments in the blog. Everybody's kind of quiet. Nobody's really said anything. And just make sure, again, you share the video blog. Hit the share button to share it on your page, please. So one of the things that stood out to me on things to remember, it says, making love is about giving, not demanding. When we focus on creating an atmosphere of love in which we are genuinely seeking to affirm our spouse, we will eventually hear the invitation. And then it just says, without love, the world looks bleak, and sex is at best a temporary oasis in a barren desert. Another thing that stood out to me, it says, sexual fulfillment has little to do with technique, but much to do with attitude, words, and actions. The most powerful prayer you can pray for your marriage is, Lord, give me the attitude of Christ towards my spouse, and pray that prayer daily. It is a prayer that God will answer. So, again, it's love, and the definition of it has been so tainted and watered down by, society, the media, TV shows, television programs, and all these music, and all this different stuff. And so, like, I try to tell people that, to build trust, you build trust through intimacy, and intimacy has nothing to do with sex. Sex is just the physical result of your hormones, you being physically attracted to that person. You're hormonally driven. Like, you may have not had sex in a while, so obviously, it is natural for your body to crave it. It's natural for your body to want it. It's natural, for it to be desired from someone that you're attracted to. But you just have to exercise discipline and put things in the right perspective and decide that, hey, you know what? I want to wait. You don't have to put a 90-day or a time limit, on your wait. You just wait, because if you've been through a toxic relationship, if you've been with the wrong person, if you've given yourself to the wrong person, and you've had a soul tie to a toxic person, you just don't want to continue to repeat that behavior. So you have to make better choices. So everything starts with you, and you can't really blame anybody else for the choices that you make. And sometimes even when you make the wrong choices, you just pray and hope that the consequences of that wrong choice is not so bad, right? And so loving yourself, things that I do, because I define my happiness. So I love to read. I read books. I'm always reading something. I like to crochet. I like to exercise. I like to work out. These are the hobbies. These are things. I do something at least every day. One thing of all the things I enjoy doing, I do at least once a day, because that makes me happy. That makes me smile. That makes me energetic. That makes me, go about my day. So find, and you have to define and learn what makes you happy, because that has nothing to do with a companion. That has everything to do with you loving on you. I like going to get facials. I like to get massages. I like to get my, pedicure, the pampering, the whole pampering thing, stuff like that. I love going to hear live bands, going to the concert, like smooth jazz concerts or R&B or comedy shows. So things that I enjoy doing, that's what I do. That you do those things, and you do those things independent of having a mate, a companion. So when you talk about meeting somebody that adds to that, that means you'll have things in common, and they will enjoy doing what you do. Even if it's not what they like to do, they're going to go and they're going to do it because they know that's what you enjoy doing. And as long as they're with you, they're going to enjoy the entertainment or the outing because they're with you. And yes, you have to make sacrifices and compromise. And, but the compromising shouldn't be you compromising your boundaries. The compromise is just you not being able to get your way and have what you want all the time, and don't expect to get your way and get what you want all the time. But the compromising in a relationship is not compromising your boundaries. That's not where you compromise at. So I hope this video blog has helped, somebody today, and that it will encourage you and inspire you to learn to love yourself more, and so you can be in a better space, a happy space, and a happy place in your singleness. Even if you're married, marriages go through their seasons and their storms, so you might feel like you're alone in this season, you might not be vibing with your spouse and not on the same page for, whatever reason, because the storms hit everybody, whether you're in a relationship, a marriage, or whether you're single. You go through your storms and your trials and your tests. And, all of your tests and your storms is designed to make you grow. It's to prepare you for what's coming up next. And it's to make you really lean on your faith and trust in God. And again, I say all the time, it's easy to read the scriptures. It's easy to read something on the paper. But it's really hard to walk in that and to live in that when you can't control what's happening to you. Because nobody likes the pain, the growing pains, but we love the end result. So when you decide that I'm going to lose some weight, or you decide I'm going to get my body in shape because I've been neglecting it and I need to, get back on track. In the beginning, you didn't like what you saw when you walked past the mirror naked. And the more you start training, whether you have a personal trainer, whether you're doing it by yourself and you're committed, I'm going to the gym 3 days a week. I'm going to do my cardio. I got an hour designated, and this is what I'm going to do. You start to feel better about yourself, and it hurts like hell for every squat that you do. It hurts like hell for every deadlift that you do, for every bench press, for every curl. But then the more you keep seeing your body when you walk past the mirror, you get more and more excited. It hurt like hell, but you love the end result. So you got to go through the pain. You got to go through the growing pains to get to the end result of the goal of what you're trying to accomplish. So that's how you know, and you can look at that when a storm and God is allowing you to go through that storm and he's testing you. It's because he's preparing you for what it is you've been praying for and what you've asked for. But it doesn't come for free. It comes at a price. And we don't like how it comes, but that it's necessary for us to go through. Whether we like the process or not, it's necessary. So trust the process, understand the process, and learn to understand the difference between lust versus love, and learn how to set your boundaries, stick to your boundaries, and don't compromise that for the sake of, just to say you can have a man or a woman or have a relationship. Because those things, they will be patient, they will be unselfish, they will be disciplined, and they will exercise self-control. It's not a marathon. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So there's no need to rush into anything. And a lot of times we rush too fast into getting to the relationship because we want to lock down or no one else to have access to that person. So what we do is we lie, we say all the right things or what we think somebody wants to hear, because for selfish reasons, instead of letting things naturally gravitate and grow based on what you know about that person, and not manipulate the situation to work to your favor, which is all about being in control. So thanks for tuning in to this video blog today, guys. Love, peace, and soul. Until next time, you guys have a great Sunday, Soulful Sunday. Share this video blog on your page. I hope you learned something today, and I encourage you to read. Readers are leaders. So in that regards, if you want to have better relationships, happier, healthier relationships, you have to invest in your relationship. You have to invest in yourself, and you have to be willing to know your worth, to say, I am worth the investment. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.